Hello everyone, you're watching SK Live. I'm your host Indranil Basu. Today we have Mr. Deep Dasgupta, the A1 commentator in cricket. In recent times, the way he speak about the game, he's someone who always calls spade a spade, and that's the best thing about him. Deepda, I'll call him Deepda because that's what I call him in real life also. He's a
Fair
wonderful
enough.
dada we have in apart from Saurav Ganguly. He's our second dada. Deepda, welcome to SK Live.
Thank you so much, and so sweet of you here. Good to be
The,
here.
the aura of cricket is changing. It's no more Australian. The aura of the Australians, the aura of the Indians right now, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and it's been there for a while now.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, the way the Indian team has played in this series is commendable. This is one of those series that you'll remember for a very long time. Whatever happens in this last Test match, you will remember. It's something like this 2003 series. You
Yeah.
remember that series. So, yeah, I mean, whatever happens, we'll remember.
And this is one of the rare series. Only two players have played all the Test matches. Only four, which is Ajinkya Rahane and Cheteshwar Pujara. I mean, it's
Yeah.
never happened in the history of the game. I think.
Seriously, if start of the series, you would have told me, you know what, the last Test match, this would be the playing 11. I was like, you're joking, man. What are you smoking right now? But this is how it has panned out, and you know what, really, really credit to a lot of things that even after missing so many first 11 players, you're still competitive. Not just competitive, you're there. One good session, two good sessions, and you could still win this Test match and the series.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was really striking is that it was not one man army team. Every session had a hero. That was phenomenal. We've never seen everyone contributed. I mean, I mean every from top to bottom, isn't it? I mean, that was really really
Absolutely.
great.
Absolutely. I guess that's what happens with good teams. Good teams with good players uh, is when your back's to the wall, because these are extraordinary times as well. I mean, if you look at not most, all of them, part of that Indian team, they've been in a bubble for 6 months. Then bubble life can't be easy. Staying away from family, and then everything that's been happening even off the field, apart from the injuries, but off the field, a lot of things been said and stuff like that. uh, so I mean, and including that 36 all out. I mean, even the
Yes.
36 all out, I think that was a game changer for me. After that kind of an innings, that 36 all out, there are only two ways a team can go. Either they can split into smaller groups and split, or you can get together and galvanize. So I think that's exactly what happened as far as I'm concerned. That after that 36 all out, I think the team got together. I think because that was a crisis situation then, and I think that just helped the team to get together and create this bond, which seems to be really, really strong.
No, no. I mean, I am really amazed by the way they did Control Shift Delete. 36 all out is gone out of the memory. But how did they do that? It's a mystery.
Listen, if you actually, now you spot on that. It's not easy. I mean, 36. It doesn't happen every now and then. I mean, the last time was 42. The lowest was 42 way back. I don't know, 1982 or 70 something. In the 70s, it was 42. But you know what? If you actually look at that Test match, it was one bad session. India actually was on top of Australia before that session. One
Yes.
bad session, and that was not a bad. That was like a absolute blunder of a session, and he lost the Test match. So if you actually think about it and you say, you know what, 36 is an aberration. It will not happen. It has happened, fair enough, but I don't think it will happen in the next 50 years or maybe more. India will not get out for 36. And that does not define the players that are playing. So obviously, I mean, I think that's how they've taken the 36, and credit to them, the team management. I think at times we don't give enough credit to the support staff, the support group. I think we've got to give credit to them, especially, I mean, this series.
Do you have any information? What did they do? I mean, no one actually.
I mean, I don't have any information from that perspective, but I believe they've had a few bonding session. I think next few days, everyone was told not to get anywhere near a cricket field, just stay away from the cricket field. And I think they had a bonding session and stuff like that. But yeah, most important thing is when something like that happens, it is very important for the leaders in the time in that side to stand up. And what happened in the very next test match, in the absence of Virat Kohli and Mohammad Shami, the leaders, they stood up. Be it Bumrah, who's just 16 test matches old, but he is a leader for me, and he did lead. Ashwin stood up. Rahane stood up. Yes, he was the captain, but I'm just talking about the leaders. Pujara stood up. So you have all these leaders who stood up and said, you know what, it's my responsibility. I'm going to take the team through.
What was your thought process after we lost the Adelaide Test match the way we did? Did you ever, in your wildest dream, thought they would come back and come back so strong?
I knew they would come back. I knew that they would come back, because if you actually, I mean, any guy who actually would analyze that test match would realize that 36. I mean, that was a freak show. That, like I said, it's not going to happen. So you cannot. You cannot base your judgment on aberrations, right?
Yeah.
And you've seen this team who's done so well in the last few years, bat, ball, whatever it is. Yeah, batsmen could have done better in away series in the last 3-4 years, but they're definitely better than 30. So you can't judge a team based on aberrations, and for me, that was one. 36 was definitely an aberration. I knew they're gonna come back, but what I was really looking forward to is to see them, how they would come back, and especially in the absence of Virat, how they would come back. But absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant, really. And talking about judgment, we also make our judgments very, very easily and very early. The way we treated Mayank Agarwal, he was pushed aside because we saw a new talent, a start in making in Shubman Gill. We thought he's going to be the future, and we decided to keep him aside. Is it fair on to play it like this?
Is it fair? That's a tough question, and that's a tricky question as well. Is it fair? I don't know whether it's fair or not. Depends on which side of the table you're sitting. But if you're Mayank, it's not fair, because Mayank, if you look at his record in Test match cricket, he's been wonderful. Whether it's at home or away from home, he's done extremely well in all kind of conditions. And I agree. If you look at Mayank and you say, you know what, two ordinary test matches, or and then you're looking at somebody else, I can understand that. But you also have to see, this was the third test match. You were 1-1. You had to win the third test match to win the series. And when you then you start looking at horses. Not, I wouldn't say horses for courses, is the wrong phrase to use, but batsmen in form, right? And then you say, you know what, Shubman Gill looked extremely good in the second test match, very compact, very composed, and we all know he is kind of the future, someone to invest in. And then you have Rohit Sharma. Rohit was fit by the third game. So you kind of obviously wanted to play someone like Rohit as well. So now if you look at it, who's going to make way, unfortunate as it is, but I think maybe was the right call. But having said that, the communication is very, very important, because for me, he wasn't dropped. He was rested. He made way for Rohit. That does not mean he was dropped. So as far as I'm concerned, at this point in time, India has three quality openers in Rohit, Mayank, and Shubman Gill. And then you see who's fit, who's not, who's in form, and you see and pick your team. But to say that Mayank was set aside or kept aside would be too harsh a statement. But yeah, I do understand where you're coming from, though.
Anirban Malik is one of our viewers asking a question. Shubman would lead a test side in near future. That's little far off.
This is his first test series. Let him just settle down first. But yeah, I mean, when you look at him, you can see the quality in him. I mean, you can see the time that he has, the shot. I mean, he was playing for the first time, the second test match that he played. I mean, he looked so comfortable. He looked comfortable against pace, against bounce, against the best bowling side, apart from India. If I have to say who's the best bowling side in the world, it's the current Australian side. Against them, whether it's Nathan Lyon, whether it's Hazelwood or Cummins, he looked so comfortable, even Mitchell Starc. So yeah, I mean, you see that quality in him, and you just hope that quality, that potential, that talent that we see the enormous talent that we see. He's able to translate that into performances.
And Deepta, you have opened innings for India on several counts. The margin of error is so less, so little. I mean, you make
Yeah.
one mistake, you're back in the pavilion. So it's really unfair for people outside sitting in our drawing rooms and to make a judgment like that, isn't it?
I mean, that's also too harsh a statement to say, because listen, cricket is popular, or is adored, and cricketers are adored because of the fans. So obviously they have every right, because they're so emotionally invested. So they have every right to have an opinion and express their opinion. And I completely not just agree to all that, but I appreciate that, because that's the reason cricket is what it is in this country. So to say that they don't have the right, I mean, I would never say that. I think they have every right to do it, because they are the biggest stakeholders. Uh, but yeah, all I'd say is you've got to be patient. At times we jump the gun. At times we move from one player to the other, or forget things a little too early. But yeah, I mean, everyone has the right to have an opinion and express it as well. I mean, whether I agree or disagree, that's a different issue. But I think I respect their opinion about things.
And that's why Deepta, they say cricket is so famous in India because it generates so much opinion. That's the reason.
Exactly. I mean, listen, if you love something, and you're invested emotionally into something, you will have an opinion, right? And that's what, I mean, that's the reason people, I mean, fans are so involved with this sport. And because of their involvement emotionally and otherwise, they have every right to have an opinion. There's no two ways about it.
There's no two ways about it. And talking about our team, the emergence of so many all-rounders from Hardik, Jadeja, Ashwin, Shardul, and Washington Sundar, coming and joining the party. Amazing, amazing. We need all-rounders, and this is looking so healthy, so robust after a long, long time, isn't it?
True. I mean, listen, Jadeja, obviously, I mean, I was very glad that Jadeja was played, and India went with him as an all-rounder, not just a bowler who can bat. He's actually, batting at 6 or 7 as an all-rounder, and he proved it. I think he's proved that in the last couple of years that he can contribute with a bat. So Jadeja is there. Ashwin, good to see Ashwin back, as the batsman back. I think
Yes.
post 2017, his batting dipped a bit, but I'm just so glad to see him back as a batsman, because that adds a lot of value to the side. I mean, unthinkable amount of value. Hardik, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I hope he starts bowling soon, because if Hardik is bowling, then you go into every game with 5 bowlers and someone like Hardik to bat at number 6, 7, wherever it is, and then you followed it up with number 8 in Jadeja or Ashwin. Oh, that is fabulous. Or play both spinners for that matter. I mean, that's just an unbelievable side then. And also encouraging others like Shardul to improve their batting. Unfortunately, if you look at the Indian bowlers, they don't bat that well as compared to, say, someone like a Cummins or a Stark, or a Nathan Lyon, or for that matter, you add someone like a Ben Stokes is a proper all rounder, but say Woods or Wokes, and Stuart Broad for England. So I think that becomes very, very important contribution. I mean, for example, this Test match. Look at the contribution from Shardul. I mean, that just changed the whole complexion of the game, right? So, I mean, that's how important it is. I just hope that the next generation, like Bumrah, Shiraz, and Saini, they work on their batting as well. Nobody's asking them to make 50s every game or whatever, but just a contribution of 10, 15 runs on an average. Then you're looking, suddenly your 250s become 325. So suddenly a below par score becomes a par score.
And Shardul was excellent. He looked like a proper batsman today. And the way he got that 50, hitting.
Unbelievable. I mean, the compactness, the calmness, and also the heart that he showed. I think was it Mitchell Stark who came over the wicket, started bowling bounces. He took one on the back. I mean, listen, you've got to have heart for that. And the very next ball, he didn't. I mean, he went right behind the ball, defended it well. So I mean, obviously, I mean, that innings. I mean, a top order batsman would be proud of that kind of an innings.
Really, I mean, it's looking and all our viewers also are so excited. They're asking, can India chase 340? Rajan Sharma is asking, can India chase 340 in 3 sessions?
Uh,
Really ambitious.
no, I mean it would be ambitious, but listen, Rohit has looked extremely good, but he hasn't converted his starts.
Yeah.
If he can convert his start, I mean Rohit again is someone who is an aggressive batsman, and then you always have someone like Rishabh Pant.
Yeah.
But you know what? If when I look at this test match, this test match is for Australia to win, right? So Australia is under pressure here. If India wins or there's a draw, India retains the Border Gavaskar Trophy. So the pressure is on Australia to a certain extent, maybe even Tim Payne as a captain, to kind of win this series. So and this test match. So I think from an Indian perspective, it's important to be disciplined, be mindful about it, because Australia has to make the play.
Rohit has also backed his shot that day,
Yeah.
yesterday on the opening day, when he was out for.
Yeah, I mean, I write an article for a Bengali daily, you know that, and I in my article I wrote the same thing. I think, it doesn't look right if you look at that dismissal, like, oh, soft dismissal, long on was there, what was the need? But you've got to give credit to Nathan Lyon because that ball drifted in. He stepped out, and the last moment the ball drifted in. I'm sure he was looking the ball to be outside his left foot, but it drifted in and came inside his left foot. So obviously that was a forced error. That wasn't an unforced error, as in tennis parlance. So
Yes.
credit to Nathan Lyon. And yeah, I mean that's how he is. I mean, listen, he's going to back himself. If every time a batsman stops playing a shot when he gets out, then how's he going to score runs? That's
But
his strength.
when Rohit is getting those runs, staying inside the crease, why do you have to step out? That's
Listen, okay. Let's go revisit the test before this, the third one,
yeah.
right? Nathan Lyon, they attacked Nathan Lyon. Both Shubman Gill, he came in early to bowl. Shubman
Yeah.
Gill and Rohit attacked, and Nathan Lyon wasn't the same bowler. So the idea is to not let Nathan Lyon to settle down. Then again, I mean, come on, you've got to give credit to Nathan Lyon for the way he bowled. He got Rohit out, but I mean, just to like I said, I mean, when it comes off, it looks awesome, right? If he had actually hit that over mid wicket for a six, we'd say, wow, what a shot, right? Unfortunately, it didn't. But that does not mean it. I mean, that's how he plays. For example, Pujara is a defensive batsman, right?
Yeah.
So when he gets out defending a ball, would you blame him?
No.
So with Rohit, who's an attacking batsman, he gets out playing a shot, and it's his shot. It's not that's not a shot that he does not play. That's a shot that he plays. So he got
That's a
out playing that.
white ball cricket shot also. Can we say that?
I not anymore. You know what? Now, I mean, 4 years ago, you could, or maybe 3, 4 years ago, you could kind of separate. Okay, this is a red ball shot or white ball shot. Slowly with time, that area is kind of fading. That line is fading. There is no proper line anymore. Red ball, white ball. I mean, now you see in Test match cricket. I mean, remember that 100 that Ben Stokes got and England won with that innings? I mean, he was hitting reverse sweeps for six. He was hitting switch hits for six. So I mean, listen, end of the day, it's about picking wickets and making runs, right? How you make it or how you pick wickets, it's up to you.
No, really, and the way we are playing, we are so proud of our team. If we are able to retain the Border Gavaskar Trophy, is it going? Is it can we equate this performance, this current series performance, with the one we had 2 years ago when we beat Australia 2-1?
Oh, I'd actually, even though if we retain it and draw this test match and not win the series, so to say, I'd still say this performance was much better than 2018. Even though 2018 we won the series, and you can't really compare that way because obviously it was a historic series. But the effort, the cricket that this team has played this series, as I've mentioned before, I mean, people will remember it for a very, very long time.
Absolutely, and pictures of Bihari uh, then Ashwin. Today we saw. I mean, what culture they have created? Amazing. This is a culture, isn't it? You
Absolutely,
don't do
yes.
it, I do it for you.
No, absolutely, yes. I mean, this is something, can you imagine this culture, this mindset, and then you get all these guys back, like Shami back and Bumrah back, Virat back. Just imagine the same culture, same mindset, right? And all the top guys back. I mean, listen, I mean, this. I just hope they hold on to whatever is working for them. I don't know what's working for them. I'm not part. I'm not in that dressing room, but whatever is working for them, if they can just hold on to it, right? And get everyone involved. People who are outside, guys who are not in that dressing room, when they come back, and the same thing continues. My God, this will be one team to beat them.
So what do you tell these guys when the mainstream players come back, the real heroes come back, the likes of Kohli, and so what do you tell the guys who've done well in this hard fought series? What do you tell them? Sit aside, warm the bench.
Again, it's a little unfair, like you said. I mean, for example, I mean, let's be very, very honest and fair here. Someone like Washington Sundar or even Shardul, for that
Yeah,
matter.
yeah.
When Bumrah is fit, Bumrah is fine, Ishant is fine, Shami is fine, he will struggle to find a place in the squad,
Yeah.
right? Having said
So
that, I would still look at someone like Shardul for the England series, as in when India is touring to England, because apart from him and Umesh, you don't have a so-called a swing bowler. Everyone else is a hit the deck bowler, whether it's Siraj or it is Navdeep, Bumrah, Shami. They're all hit the deck bowler. So I will be seriously looking at someone like him as part of the squad at least. Washington Sundar, listen, you can see there is quality there, there is proper quality there, and he's only 22, if I'm not wrong. If he I mean something like that, I think he's 21, 22. So yeah, I mean, obviously he's shown that he's someone that you need to invest in. I know, I mean, obviously Team India has invested in him as far as T20 is concerned, and even to a certain extent one day, but I think he's in this test match with 3 wickets already in the first innings and this 50. Obviously he's shown that he's somebody needs to be invested even in red ball cricket.
I really like his action, the way he runs in, and he can really clock 140 plus, and that is his stop delivery. I really like the attitude, the way he moves the ball, top of the
Shardul?
off. Shardul, yes.
Oh yeah. I mean, listen, I've followed Shardul. He's been playing first class for a good 6 years now, 6 to 7 years now. I've seen him in first class cricket. He's 100% cricketer. He's got a huge heart. You will always, I mean, he's one of those guys who will leave nothing on the field, right? He's one of those guys. As a captain, he's a dream guy. I mean, somebody who will die for you on the field, batting, bowling. We use a term called khadoos for
Yeah.
especially Mumbai cricket and cricket parlance. He's a perfect example of a khadoos cricketer who's not going to give up. He might not have the skill set of, let's say, a Shami or someone, but you can never ever fault him for his intent or his commitment, or his effort. I mean, that's something that you can never complain for.
We have another player in Ridhiman Saha who is really, really committed, and he will not let you go. I mean, till you don't look at him. He's such a fighter. What will you tell Ridhiman Saha when Pant is become a first choice, Team India's first choice as a keeper? He's a batting
Listen,
first.
my only issue, Indranil, is last 2 3 years we haven't figured out who's your number one choice, right? It's
Yeah.
moved from one keeper to the other. So I don't know. All I'm gonna say, Riddhiman, is he's still fit. Yes, he's had injury issues, but otherwise he's fit. There is what I honestly believe that both Riddhiman and Rishabh, uh, there is this wrong perception. They're caught in that perception that Riddhiman can't bat. Listen, for Christ's sake, he's got 2 test hundreds here. So people think that he can't bat. And same thing for Rishabh. People think he can't keep. And nothing can be further from the truth. Rishabh might not be as good a keeper as Riddhiman. Riddhiman might not be as good a batsman as Rishabh, but it's not that they can't do that. That might be their weaker suit, but they still are good enough. So all I'd say, Riddhiman, is just hang in there, bro. I mean, and he's done that. He's been around since what, 2010. His first, or was it 2011 against South Africa? He
And
made his debut. So
he was supposed
he, sorry, go
accidentally
on.
hit. Rohit Sharma had twisted
Twisted his
knee.
ankle, right? So he
Uh,
made his debut as a batsman against South Africa. So and he's been in the wings when MSD was there. So he's used to it. He's been very very patient with his career. So there is not a shadow of doubt he's going to be patient. He's going to wait for his time. And you never know, yeah. And like I said, even though he's what, I think he's 36 or something, but he's extremely fit. Uh, he can keep those injuries away and keep himself fit, can play a few more years easily.
we have Anirban and Vikrant asking, is IPL to be blamed for so many injuries that happened?
Nah. Listen, I can, uh, for things like fractures and all, you can't. I mean, Shami was a fracture, uh, Jadeja is a fracture. With fractures, that can happen anywhere. Soft tissue, I won't blame IPL for it. Soft tissue injuries, I'm not surprised there are soft tissue injuries because lockdown, and straight out of lockdown you're into competitive cricket in like IPL, and then from one bubble to the other. Obviously that will take a toll on the body. Soft tissue injuries, even Bumrah's was again a freak injury. It didn't happen while he was bowling. It happened while he was fielding, right? He slipped and he strained his groin. So those are unfortunate and freak injuries. But soft tissue injuries you do expect. But I really would like to know the reasons why. From the outside, I mean, yes, you can say that soft tissue injuries because lockdown you couldn't. A lot of people might ask that question, which is a very valid question. That even Cummins was playing IPL. He played all four Test matches. Hazelwood did not play all the matches. I think he played 3 or 4 matches. I think 3 matches he played, but he was there. He was there in the bubble. He played all the four. Uh, how did they manage to play all four? I mean, their bowling attack and not the Indian bowlers. So obviously that's a valid question. So I would want to know. I'm sure once the series is over, that question will be asked whether whether they did not train properly, whether they had prior injuries or niggles. But I would really like to know. But yeah, I mean, soft tissue injuries you can understand, coming from a lockdown situation right into competitive cricket.
Arnav Das is asking, do you think that after the sandpaper gate, Stark has forgotten the art of reverse swinging the ball?
People are talking about that reverse swing, or rather lack of reverse swing, but one of the major factor is missing, which is the saliva. I mean, with the
Yes.
sweat, saliva is heavier than sweat, right? And we are talking about reverse swing and all without actually even once mentioning the fact that you can't put saliva. So, I mean, that's one of the major things which is required. Even sweat can. It's not that sweat can't, but obviously saliva is heavier than sweat, so it makes the ball quicker and faster for the ball to start reversing. So for me, I think the lack of saliva is a lack of using, or the rule that you can't use saliva is one of the reason of not seeing reverse swing as much.
So, but in days to come, I hope that rule is also taken off, and we are
Oh,
the ball, because that element should be there. That that constant
100%.
bat and ball, that will add so much fun to the game, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. There is no two ways. And listen, reverse swing is an art, right? No matter what you say, or anyone says, I think reverse swing is an art. And yeah, I mean, you like you said, there has to be a balance between bat and ball. As it is, red ball cricket has become more batting friendly. I mean, the scale is towards the batsman a little more. You don't want the same with red ball cricket. I'm all for white ball cricket being pro batsman and red ball cricket being pro bowler.
So after this Australian tour, tour, do you think we are going to be a better side in countries like England, South Africa, and New Zealand?
I hope so, because as far as skills are concerned, listen, I mean, we've always had the skill set, right? Whether it's this side or the sides before this, there was never a question about the skills that the Indian team had at any point in time. I think maybe at times the mindset or whatever it is that was lacking. I think after this series, I think Indian team has kind of turned a corner here, And like I said before, I think I hope they can just hold on to whatever's been working right now. Like I said, I don't know, it is something in the dressing room that they're doing. Is it, whatever is happening there? Just hold on to it. Even when everyone comes back, like Virat comes back. I mean, your captain comes back, Shami, Bumrah, everyone comes back. Just hold on to whatever's happening right now, whatever you guys are doing right now.
I mean, overall health of Indian cricket is looking so robust. It's looking so healthy. Uh, do we credit IPL or Ranji Trophy for this robustness?
I think the whole system. I think the whole system in the Nil. I mean, IPL has a major role to play. Obviously, Ranji Trophy. I mean that's the most important part of our domestic circuit. So definitely Ranji Trophy, IPL, and the India A circuit that we have. India A. Because India A now tours a lot of countries. There's a lot of emphasis on India A. So yeah, I mean this whole India A, IPL, and they have different. They add different things to a player. For example, Ranji Trophy, obviously, I mean that's the major thing that you need. Listen, countries like India, England, Australia predominantly will never face any major issues when there is a transition from one team or one generation to the other, because you'll always, and we've been lucky. I mean, look at our history, man. I mean, starting from Palwankar Balu all the way to Shubman Gill at this point in time, we've never, every generation, we are so lucky to have iconic players every generation. Every generation we've had iconic players, right?
Absolutely.
So, and that's because of the system. Irrespective of what happens, we have such a robust system that we will not. And same with someone, I mean, a country like England or Australia, because they do have a very good system. They'll always keep producing good players because of the system. But IPL, I mean, that gives you a taste of international cricket even before you play international cricket. Shubman
Absolutely.
Gill, 3 months ago he was batting Cummins in the nets, right? He was sharing the dressing room with Cummins. He was sharing the dressing room with Morgan, and looking at them, how they plan their innings, how they prepare themselves, their work ethics. And you playing against whom? I mean, you're playing against a Dale Steyn or Mitchell Stark or whoever it is. I mean, all the top bowlers in the world. So obviously, I mean, you and again, your pressure, the pressure of the crowd, your franchisee, those pressures. And obviously A series is such an important aspect, again, which contributes a whole lot too.
Absolutely. And where else will you get a story like the Natarajan? He goes to Australia as a net bowler, inducted in white ball cricket team, then plays Test cricket. I mean, fairy tale. I mean,
Fairy
how
tale. Fairy tale.
this?
Absolute fairy tale. I mean, listen, I mean, but you know what? Someone like him deserves every bit of it. If you see his story, and I'm sure you've seen his story and all that, and what he's done. Starting a cricket school in his village and everything else, and cricket academy for people who don't really have to travel to Chennai, or can't travel all the way to Chennai to play cricket. So I mean, that's a great story. That's an inspirational story. And listen, I don't know him personally, but whatever I've heard, he's an absolute gem of a person, right? And kudos to him, and he deserves every bit of it. And what I've seen of him, dude, I think he's here to stay. At least white ball cricket, red ball, he needs to. His skill sets are more suited to white ball cricket. Let me put it this way. But he's a gun bowler in white ball cricket. Gun bowler.
Absolutely. And talking about good human being, we have little. I mean, these simpletons like Shiraj and Saini. I mean, they are also wonderful people. I mean, you don't feel you're a fast bowler off the field when they.
Siraj and Navdeep, both of them are such sweet guys. Yeah. It's just unbelievable how sweet they are. And you meet them off the field, and they're like so bubbly and smiley, and you're like, dude, you guys bowl at 140, man. There has to be some aggression. You know what I'm saying? Even off the field, I'm not saying, but they're such sweet guys. I mean, both Navdeep and Siraj, and I'm so happy. I mean, they've been around for a while. The issue is, and I've always said this, and I've always maintained this. I think both Navdeep and Siraj are better red ball bowler than white ball bowlers. Navdeep, I don't think we've seen the best of Navdeep with the red ball so far. I think he's better than what we've seen in this Test series. But Siraj has been phenomenal. I mean, listen, I mean, he's only 2 Test matches old and he looks like a leader himself. He's leading this bowling attack and he's doing a great job of it. So I mean, both of them look so comfortable, and also not just him, even someone like Shardul Thakur, brilliant.
Pratik Singh is saying, hi, Deep sir, how do you rate Team Payne's captaincy? Is Australian team missing quality players and a good captain?
I think Penny is not a bad captain. I think, for example, last Test match. Let's say the last Test match. Listen, they dropped so many catches, which includes himself as well. I mean, he himself dropped 2 catches. Rishabh's catches, couple of them. He's actually dropped more than 2 catches last game. So I mean, if you think about it and really analyze, I'm not taking anything away from Hanuma and Ashwin and Rishabh's innings as well. But if they had held on to their catches, I think the result would have been different last Test match. As far as captaincy is concerned, I think he's been all right. I really don't want to be too critical of his captaincy. But yeah, it's been a terrible. He's a very good wicket keeper. But it just had I mean, he's been having a nightmare of a series with the glove. I mean, even today, he dropped one off Washington off his gloves. So yeah, he's just having a bad series with the gloves.
But is it like this with the wicket keeper? If you're too chatty behind the stumps, you tend to lose your concentration. You have been a wicket keeper yourself.
You need to work out. You need to work out what works for you. For example, there are guys who talk non-stop. But that's how they are. By nature, they are like that. Rishabh, I mean, by nature he talks, so you can't stop him from talking. It just boils down to every individual, how they are, their character are in real life. Are you talkative? You're not. Don't have to force yourself. End of the day, your first job is to keep wickets, and chatter and everything else is not your primary job.
Then we have Harshit Agarwal asking that Rishabh Pant is criticized for his short selection, his approach. If you look at Stars, the stats, you see his numbers are good as Pujara as anyone else in the series. So your take. He's of course battling well.
Someone like Rishabh, I mean, he's a potential match winner for me. I think, and I've said this before, he's someone who has the potential to be someone like, I'm not saying Gilchrist per se, but do the same job as Gilchrist did for Australia. Come at number 6 and just win games. So I think he has that potential. But players like him can be a little frustrating because when they're going, it looks so nice and so good. But when they get out, it looks very ordinary. They're like, oh, geez, why did he have to play that shot? But that's who they are. That's the reason they're so exciting, because they do play those shots. So, end of the day, I do understand why he can be frustrating. But I tell you what, you've got to back him. He's got, I don't know, he's got back-to-back 11 innings scores of 20 plus or 30 plus. Now, that's the aspect he needs to kind of work on a bit, because he makes those 20s and 30s, but he needs to start converting those 30s into 70s and 80s, which he will learn. Because, the issue is with players like him, you should not discourage players like him from playing shots, because that's who they are. That's the batsman that they are. So it becomes very tricky for a coach, because on one hand, you want them to learn from their mistakes. At the same time, you also don't want to discourage them from playing shots. So you just hope and guide them so that the shot selection gets better.
Anirban is asking, won't we have a very confident Indian team after this series? Of course, he's answered. Deepda has also already answered that part. And Rohan is asking, do you think Shardul should continue in Test cricket as an all-rounder? Of course, Deepda has also kept him in the choice of all-rounder. But Deepda, asking about your choice of man of the series. It's going to be really tough. Who's your choice?
I think I mean, if Ashwin had played this test match, I think he definitely would have been one of the main contenders for man of the series. The way he's bowled, he's batted. See, the thing with Indian team is, only, like you mentioned before, only two players have played all four test matches. So there hasn't been anyone who's been consistently playing all four. And out of those two, Pujara's got 250s. I think he's got 250s, and obviously Ajinkya got that brilliant 100. It's a tricky one, man of the series, tricky one. Maybe Cummins here. I think Cummins was brilliant with the ball. Yeah, could be Cummins. Hazelwood, he picked up his second fifer of the series. Uh, from an Indian perspective, like I said, I mean, only apart from two, nobody else has played all four. But Ashwin would be one of the contenders, surely, as far as I'm concerned.
But Rahane's 100 in Melbourne was the most defining one. That's for sure. That really
Absolutely.
changed the real
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, no two ways about it.
the real context of the series was completely changed after that knock, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. And that was a fabulous 100. I really am I really am liking how Ajinkya is approaching his innings. I know he's got 100 and the others he really has not. Even was a little disappointed with his shot selection today. Uh, but you could see, last 2 3 years, I haven't seen his foot moving as well as it has in this series. If you go back to the last 2 3 years, you'd see him playing a lot of shots from the crease. But this series, you could see his stride getting longer. He's committed more on the front foot, back foot as well. He's using the depth, so it's more definite his footwork as compared to last 2 3 years. So I even though he's got 100, uh, but I really think another big score is around the corner. Could be this series. Hopefully, this series another innings to go, or in the future sometime soon.
Abhishek is asking, what do you think will be the game plan of both the teams in the remaining 2 days? I hope there is no rain in next 2 days.
Oh, listen, I mean, Australia is under pressure. Let me tell you this, because as far as India is concerned, I think Warner holds the key here, because Warner is one batsman, and he's looking fit. I think first time in this Test series, at least, that I think I've seen him run as fast. Today he took that 3 runs. He was running fast. He drove, so obviously he's moving his feet. Cut pull, obviously his go-to shot, but he drove beautifully a boundary. So he's looking dangerous, and he's one batsman who can take that game away in one session. He's attacking, he's aggressive. Because now I'm looking at, and I'm doing a little bit of reverse engineering here. Now, where would Australia want to declare or leave India, right? Uh, Going back by what happened today with Shardul and Washington, and also last Test match, they would want more than 90 overs, let's say 100 overs. That's what something that they would be looking at, 100 overs. And they would also be looking at and saying, you know what, if Rishabh again gets going like the last Test match and Rohit's looking good, Shubman's looking good, can't give India anything less than 325. So they're 50 runs ahead. That's 275 more to go, let's say. So they need to get the next 80 overs around 275. And for that to happen, you need to stop Warner. As far as India is concerned, they need to stop Warner, because he's one guy who can, in one session, get those 125 runs. So you stop Warner, you get Warner out early. I mean, I know Smith is there, Labuschagn's there, but you've seen that their scoring rate can be controlled. But Warner is one guy. Either you get him out, or it'll be difficult to stop the scoring rate. As long as Warner's there, he's going to keep going. So from an Indian perspective, obviously try and pick up early wickets. There's no two ways. But most importantly, Warner.
And that's why we have been quite successful. We are able to keep Warner and Smith under check. We told them don't score too much. But we didn't have much time for Labuschagne though.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Labuschagne has been, again, very lucky. I don't want to use that word, but he's been fortunate, man. I mean, how many catches?
Yeah.
How many catches have we dropped off Labuschagne? It seems like every innings we drop a couple of catches of Labuschagne. So, yeah, I mean, but he's a very good player. There is absolutely, I mean, come on, in 17 Test matches, there are 11 50s and 500s in 17 Test matches. I mean, wow, what a record there. averages over 60. So obviously he's a super batsman, no two ways. But it's just that we've helped him a little too much this series.
Mr. Harshit Agarwal is saying, do you think Ravindra Jadeja has done so well in past couple of years? He's become the MVP of this Indian cricket team.
Well, I don't know whether he's become MVP or not, but I tell you this: he makes a huge difference. Huge difference. He can come and bat at 6 or 7, and the way he's bowling overseas as well. Look at 2018, the last Test match that he played. I think he picked up 4 wickets or 3 wickets there in the first inning. So he's also picking wickets outside India, or rather overseas conditions. He also gives you control because he can control the scoring rate as well.
Yeah.
He can be tight. So he gives you a lot. And let's not even talk about his fielding, right? I mean, he's one of the best in the world, quite well be the best in the world right now. And the way he's batting, yeah, I mean, can you imagine him available, fit and available, and Hardik bowling? I mean, God, you've got a spinning all-rounder, a seam bowling all-rounder. I just can't wait for that day to happen. I just hope Hardik gets bowling fit soon and starts bowling. It'll be a different ball game altogether then.
Talking about fitness of things, how is our Dada doing? Saurav Ganguly, the BCCI president. I hope you
That's
met
good.
and
He's doing well. I did speak to him, met him actually, and he's doing well. He's fit, touch wood,
yeah.
working as usual. So yeah, I mean, he's fit and fine and healthy.
Was it like? I mean, it was a sort of bouncer for him, for every one of us when the news.
Yeah, I mean, huge. You know him, right? And you know his lifestyle. I mean, it's very regimented. His I mean, and off late he was training. He was running and or walking. Controlled his diet. It's very simple diet. Obviously, it does not have any vices. Otherwise, and when it came, when I heard that, I wasn't in Kolkata then. And when I heard that, I was like, no, that's not possible. It can't be happening with him. And that just shook the world around me, very, very honestly, Indranil, because someone like him with that kind of lifestyle can have an issue like this. I mean, listen, but again, sort of and his timing, immaculate, whether while he was batting or on the field or off the field. Right time, went to the hospital, as they call it, the golden hour. I believe it's called the golden hour. He figured it out very early, so the attack was prevented. So the whole procedure was done before the attack could happen.
So it's a good news for all of us that he's coming back. But is he going to be like up and running very soon? Fighting fit, jisko bolte hain.
Listen, he's up and running already. I actually believe he attended one of the meetings, one of the, I think, BCCI meetings from hospital.
Yeah.
So that's him. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure he will be. I think he needs to go back in another 10 days time for another checkup, where they will figure out whether they need to do one more procedure or not, whether it's one or two or whatever. So I mean, he's fit. He's fit and fine. Otherwise, but I think he needs a few more days to be completely, like, kind of running a marathon will take a little bit longer.
But one thing which has really taught us through this Saurav Ganguly episode of is that you have to get your yearly checkup done. Whatever.
I'm getting it done tomorrow.
Yeah, because we don't know what's happening. We might feel.
Yeah, man, you're right, Idril. I mean, like I said, the world shook around me when I heard that, and like I said, I'm getting it done. I'm getting it done tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow evening, I'm getting it done, and I would suggest, advise, recommend, and request everyone to get it done. Yearly or bi-yearly, just get a health checkup done. You never know.
Better to be safe than sorry. That's that should be the mantra for all of us. And Deep Dive, it was pleasure, and you always you such a great talker. And the way you describe cricket and the way you play cricket also. You're one of the doings of Indian domestic cricket. The way you led Bengal, the way you played in for India, went into Open in South Africa. I mean, it was really
You're kind, man. You're way too kind. You're way too kind.
no. It's a pleasure having you on a Sunday evening. We hope India keep doing well and we keep talking, discussing cricket at length. Yes. Thanks a lot and stay safe and keep getting your checkup done. And I'll do the same.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.